I spoke to Sudha David-Wilp, a senior Transatlantic fellow and deputy director of the German Marshall Fund's Berlin office, and I began by asking her if the SPD now believes that two heads are better than one.
I think the SPD is desperate to try anything right now, and as you mentioned, there are about 8 pairs that are looking to take over the chair of the SPD, and there is one single candidate right now as well. So altogether, there's about 17 candidates that are in play right now to take over the chairmanship of the SPD.
Okay, but why exactly have they come up with this idea of having two people leading the party?
Well, perhaps they're following what their peers are doing. For example, the Greens has been a very successful party over the past 2 years, while established parties here in Germany have had suffered losses at the polls because there's so much fragmentation in the political party system. The Greens, for one, who have the so-called Doppelspitz, or a dual chair, have been quite successful with the female-male duo, and perhaps the SPD is taking a page out of their playbook.
Okay, well, the SPD is losing support considerably, as we saw in the regional state elections this weekend. Why do you think that is?
Well, the SPD has been in a grand coalition with the Conservatives, Chancellor Merkel's Christian Democrats, for 3 out of Chancellor Merkel's 4 terms thus far. And they've been sort of overshadowed by Chancellor Merkel and the Conservatives. And, both parties are now governing from the middle. And I think that the regional elections are just a wake-up call to Berlin, saying that we don't like politics as usual, and voters would like some differentiation within the political spectrum. There doesn't seem to be a lot of differentiation between left and right because both parties have been governing from their comfort zone in the middle.
And you think by having 2 heads at the top of the organisation, that could change? As you mentioned, other parties have done this. Surely the SPD should be looking to lead as opposed to following.
This is true, but I do think that the SPD has just had a carousel of leadership in the past couple of years. Not too recent memory, there was Sigmar Gabriel, the former minister, then Martin Schulz, formerly the head of the EU Parliament in Brussels, and then most recently Andrea Nahles. So I think they're just looking for some sort of model to revive the fortunes of one of Germany's oldest political party. They have been hemorrhaging in the polls over the years, and what the low point was, of course, last year's European Union elections, when they only achieved about 15% in the polls, which prompted Andrea Nahles to step back.